I have bad news for you, Spencer.
Oh, yeah?
Show's canceled.
Oh, who canceled it?
America.
America?
Yeah, see, Bad Bunny was supposed to come on.
Oh,
and,
yeah, I forgot we were going to have him on as a guest.
Yeah, and he was going to do some songs or something. I don't know. And I'm not really too familiar with this work, but his agent said, "Oh, this guy don't got much going on right now. He'll come on, try to revive his career, as most people do come on."
Right, yes. They try to get the DPW bump.
Yeah, like when Neil Gaiman's agent tried to get him on, and fucking
try to get back in the good graces.
Stephen King's publicist tried to get him on after that whole thing with the Charlie Kirk shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get it. We revive careers.
Yeah.
We're basically how The Rock used to do the blockbusters. You'd bring back dead franchises like the Fast and Furious. I understand that. But I guess we went a step too far with the Bad Bunny. Turns out all of our listeners don't like Puerto Ricans.
Fair.
What was it on South Park? The John Benet Ramsey episode? They blamed the murders on some Puerto Rican guy.
Yeah.
We're going to catch some Puerto Rican guy. No, we didn't. We're not canceled.
See, I thought he was going to go with the Mexican Joker.
No. I forgot about the Mexican. That was a good one, too. No, we are not canceled because we don't have enough clout to be canceled, I don't think. That's fine. I almost just like being under the radar of society. I feel like it gives us an underground edge.
Yeah.
That once we break into the mainstream, then we have problems.
Yes.
We have to get lawyers and shit. I don't want lawyers.
No.
Nothing fucking makes me more puckered in the anus than thinking about having to go to like court and shit. Like, could you imagine like somebody sued you and you have to go to court? Even if you're innocent and you're going to win the court case, just the fact that you have to go to court, you have to get a lawyer, you have to spend money, you have to do all this fucking shit.
Well, nowadays you never fucking know because all it just takes is the right amount of grease to the right amount of palm, and even if you were innocent, don't mean nothing.
Well, a lot of the times what fucking, like, say a corporation or something sues you for copyright or whatever, it's not even about winning, even if, like, they'll do it knowing that they won't win, but the thing is, they're like, oh, we'll just drag them down with, fees. Like, you just get lawyer fees and shit. What that'll do is like, oh, Disney sues somebody. It's like, oh, we're not going to win, but we have so much fucking money and we don't care about losing all this money. We know that little Spencer Church doesn't have any money. So even though he would win, he's not going to be able to go through all this unscathed. It's going to ruin his career.
And it just shows everybody else not to do it.
Yeah.
Or we'll do the same to you.
Which is fucking horse hockey. You should get your money back. Today we will be discussing The Medusa Zone by Paul Elard Cooley.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that's what the E stood for.
Yeah, for a while he was promoting as Elard Cooley. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But we're still in the cold open. It's ice cold and
chilly.
We just did a shitty episode about death, about fictional deaths. Wasn't very good. We recorded it. I feel bad about it, and I feel even worse that this episode is going to be very short because this isn't a very long book.
No.
Why we made this the book of the month is because you gave it to me a year or two ago, and I wanted to read it, and it gave me a reason at 135 or so pages. 138 pages.
Right.
So I don't think there's going to be much to talk about, and I don't have any more cold open topics other than if you could revive one WWE career, who would it be?
Oh.
Put them right back in their prime.
Oh. Could I bring Sting back in his prime, but put him in the WWE?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Any wrestler. Just any wrestler.
All right.
So you're going to have a prime Sting come back and have a run?
Yeah, but in the WWE, not in WCW.
No, there's no WCW, so yes, that's fair. That's a good choice. I would pick Ricky Steamboat.
Ooh, yeah.
I was actually going to say Chris Benoit, but unless I could bring back the family, that's probably not a smooth move. Yeah. So, folks, Sting. That's Spencer's choice, my choice. Ricky Steamboat, because I always liked his wrestling.
Yeah.
The eternal babyface. Never won heel.
No.
Never lost. He has lost, but in my mind, never lost. All right, we'll be back in a moment with some talk. Some book talk. You're listening to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb James. With me, as always, Spencer, the Jackson Jellyfish Juggler Church. Juggling jellyfish, and it could be dangerous. Going by the Medusa Zone.
Yes.
If you're juggling these jellyfish, you will.
Depending on the jellyfish, you're a big motherfucker if you juggling some of those.
Yeah, some of them get very big. So we are discussing the Medusa Zone by Paul E. Cooley. The official synopsis: it was just another fishing trip for Stu, his wife, and their friends until the storm. Forced off course to avoid the worst of the swells and lightning, the boat floats into a dead zone filled with large, glowing jellies. Upon investigating an adrift boat, the creatures attack them, sickening one of their party. With the Coast Guard on their way to evacuate them, the four have to survive until help arrives. So this is a creature feature story, and a creature feature I never expected.
Yeah.
I should have guessed that it was about jellyfish when the cover has a big jellyfish on it. But the Medusa Zone is what threw me off.
Yeah.
The title, I'm thinking somebody's going to get turned to stone. Or I couldn't figure out the Medusa part. And I think it's just because he couldn't say the dead zone.
Right, yeah.
That's a Stephen King book. Because what happens is the crew, it's not really a crew. It's Stu and Jenna, who are the captains. They're on the Jenna's Dream, their boat.
They're the sea people. They've spent many hours out on boats and out in the
Stu spent his whole life on boats.
Yeah.
Jenna, who is married to Stu, spent some time on the boats. She's pretty efficient at driving the boats, I guess you would say. Sailing the boats, not driving. And Wilma and Marty. I believe you guys said the fellow's name was Marty. I read this like a month and a half ago, so I'm a little rusty.
Martin. Martin, I think is what it is.
I'm confused because in the Boatmore Butcher, there's a Marty.
You're right, yeah.
Martin and Wilma are just some friends along for the ride.
Yeah.
And they're just enjoying a fine trip out in the deep sea.
Yeah, like a weekend trip, just something, having some fun.
Boating, lots of drinking.
Lots of drinking.
But they reach a dead zone in the ocean where, until I read this, I knew of dead zones, but not really what they meant. I guess there's like no nutrients or something, so there's not many things alive out there, right? And there's not a lot of fish. There's not much of anything. So these folks, they're out there on the open sea, and they end up in this dead zone, and everything's pretty calm. And then a storm rolls in.
Yeah, pretty powerful storm.
Yeah, and fortunately for Stu, he is very familiar with storms, having spent his life at sea, and Jenna is even pretty experienced with the storms now as well. So he's like, hey, I'm going to go. They don't want to scare their friends, so they're just like, hey, we're going to get the fuck out of here. We might hit some rough waters. Sure enough, the storm rolls in. It gets a little rough, but they survive it.
They would have managed to get to like the outskirts of the storm.
So you don't get a perfect storm situation where they flip over or anything, which is good because they notice that there are some very incandescent blue orbs, some very strange glowing creatures in the ocean. And they don't think much of it, and they're like, oh, those are jellyfish. What the fuck kind of jellyfish are those? But there's jellyfish. And then what slowly unravels through what is otherwise a fast-paced story is the fact that there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of these fucking jellyfish.
At multiple different sizes.
Yeah, it starts off just some weird small jellyfish, and then they get bigger and bigger until eventually you're getting like car size and truck size jellyfish.
I think some of them was almost as big as the boat, right?
Yeah. So it's very
towards the end.
Yeah, so it gets very freaky. But after the storm, they come across. There's still like a little bit of unease with these fucking jellyfish. Like, we don't want to touch these goddamn things. But they're more of a curiosity than anything else. And they're like, well, they're in this dead zone. Maybe, I don't know, they're the only things that can survive out here. But they don't want to touch them or anything. The Jenna, she goes and fucks around with like a net or something to catch one just to see what they're like. And you're like, oh, this is how the zombie bite starts. You're going to get infected. But she doesn't. But she notices like they seem to be a little more sentient than jellyfish should be, Like
they tried to get up the pole of the net.
They seem to be kind of a thinking creature, maybe even a hive mind thinking creature. So it's hinted at, but it's not necessarily described immediately. But they ended up coming across in what seems to be an abandoned boat. They can't reach anybody on the boat with the radio, and then they make the extremely foolish decision of going to see if these folks need help.
Yeah.
They do so. Also, what ends up happening is with the storm and stuff, they get into calm waters in this dead zone, and the jellyfish seem to be slowing their boat down by fucking cramming up the motor, and they don't want to burn out the motor. So, like, whatever's in the fucking propellers, they're not quite sure. They don't want to burn out the motor, so they have to rely on the sails, which would be fine if there was wind. But, of course, there's no wind.
No wind.
So, like, fuck. And so we got a good excuse why they're stuck out here. But then they end up going to investigate this boat, and that's when shit fucking unfolds crazily. So it's Jenna and Martin, which I don't think was a good choice to have Martin, the non-experienced seaman. I know they had to have one of the fucking people on the boat in case shit goes down, but after they've been drinking and stuff too, they go over. Jenna goes on board. Martin stays in the little dinghy boat or whatever, and she finds some gross dead guys.
One's on the shitter.
Lots of gross jellyfish. One's on the shitter. They look burned. Very burned.
And like peeled skin and stuff like that.
Yeah, deep gashes in their arms and stuff. So it's a very brutal affair. She does get out of there. Jenna gets back to the boat with Martin, but not before things unfold in a very poor manner for them. And Martin gets bit by a jellyfish. He gets stung. And what's, again, slowly unfolds in a fast-paced way, which I really enjoyed, was that Martin slowly, he's like, a little itchy. I got fucking stung. It's itchy. And they gave him
some cream and medicine.
Yeah, they have medical supplies and stuff. But then he starts getting kind of a little frantic, and he's itching more or scratching the itch more. And, you know, his wife's like, hey, stop doing that. You're going to fuck yourself up.
The wound starts to get real like pussy and gross.
Yeah, you know, you get bit. It happens. You get poisoned, like a venomous ant, like think a spider bites or something. It could get gross real fast. Eventually, what happens is he is almost like zombified, where he's just fucking shredding his skin and muscle, and
he's like overtaken by the itch.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, it's so fucking itchy, and they're like, dude, and they give him EpiPens and all this shit, and then it's very graphic, and you're like, holy fuck. Meanwhile, these jellyfish are now just attacking. Like they're
rocking the boat,
but they're not just rocking the boat, they're only hitting one side, so the boat's going in circles, so they're not going to get out of this dead zone. They're stuck unless a wind comes, and since they jammed up the propellers, they can't get out of there. And Stu's like, all right, this is getting to fucked up situation. But he's very stubborn. And Jenna, I think, wants to call the Coast Guard. But Stu decides he's going to stay with the boat no matter what.
Yeah.
Foolish fucking boatman. So he's not going to... They didn't call the Coast Guard yet until Martin... Let's just say he succumbs.
Yeah.
To his gross
like
wounds.
You said, he becomes more maddening, and like he charges one of them and he falls all like over the railing and like basically just smacks his head open.
A madness definitely seems to fall upon the afflicted, to the point where not only are they shredding their arms and from the itchiness, they're just and then not in their right mind anymore.
And like the jelly are like shooting their like stingers, like almost like, you know,
shoot them like darts.
Yeah, kind of. So like, you know, we get a lot of action with like that kind of stuff and them trying to duck from all that kind of things.
Now, it wouldn't be a Cooley story unless almost everybody dies.
Right. Well, I wasn't expecting anybody to make it, if I was honest.
Yeah, I didn't either. But what we get is, as the story goes, how you would expect. And then it's Wilma, and then Jenna, and then what happens is you might think she's gonna make it. You think Stu might save her, but these fucking jellyfish are fucking. They end up like they're crazy. They're fucking coming on deck. They're flooding that, which makes me question the size of this boat they're on.
Yeah.
Eventually,
I figured we'd go over some of the creeks after the summary.
The pace really ratchets up at the end. So what they end up finally calling the Coast Guard, probably too late, and they're like, we're 15 minutes away. And in that 15 minutes, everything goes to fucking hell. And without giving away the ending, it's very brutal, but we do have one survivor.
Yeah.
But it's alluded to that this motherfucker's gonna get revenge on these jellyfish, I think.
Maybe. I could see something coming back to this somehow.
Yeah. So Spencer, not being like me, not being much of a creature feature reader.
Yeah.
What do you give? Let's give our official rating the Medusa Zone. I'll give it a solid 4 for what it is.
I was thinking like 3.5, 4, somewhere around there.
I give it a 4 whiskey shots out of 5. I would lean more towards 3.5, but again, I try to subvert my ratings to whatever genre it is. So since it's a creature feature, I would have to rate that against other creature features.
That's fair, yeah.
So again, having not read many, I enjoyed this for what it was. So.
And it's a not what you would think as a creature for a creature feature, with it being, jellyfishes.
In fact, the last creature feature I think I read was The Black by Paulie Cooley, probably, other than the one I wrote myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't read a lot of creature features. Maybe like some random werewolf stories or something come my way, but not like actual like monsters and giant things and stuff like that. And the fact that it was a unique one, like I haven't read fucking jellyfish.
Right, yeah.
And jellyfish are always kind of freaking me out anyway. I always worry when I go to the beach. Sometimes you see them washed up and I'm like, ooh. When I went to Michigan, we went to Grand Rapids and we went a little north. They have the big dunes. We walked fucking 5 miles out on these goddamn dunes, and you really are just in the desert surrounded by water. It's weird. Then we end up getting to the lake that's on the other side of here. Maybe it's Lake Michigan or Huron. I don't know. One of the Great Lakes. And it was like very calm waters on the other side of this dune. And we went out and I waded. And then I was like, ooh, it's like flat for a while. And I started swimming. And this is the first time in my life this has ever happened. I looked down and I was surrounded by jellyfish because I didn't know there was jellyfish in a fucking lake.
Right, yeah.
They were small. They're like, I don't know, bigger. They were a little bigger than a quarter.
Okay.
Silver dollar size.
Okay.
But there was hundreds of them.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I freaked out like a little bit because I was like, these sting? I don't fucking know. I mean, I know not all jellyfish sting, but what if these little guys sting? But they weren't bothering me, and it was kind of peaceful. But I was like, there's like lumps of garbage on me.
Yeah.
But I've been to beaches where like big jellyfish are on shore, and you see the tentacles. I'm like, I'm not touching that.
Right, yeah.
I poke it with a stick. You always poke it with a stick.
Oh, yeah.
Always
poke it with a stick.
100% of the time, you poke the dead thing with a stick. Can you even say you're human if you wouldn't do that?
Right.
Now, there's levels to stick poking. Raccoon on the side of the road? No.
No, yeah.
That's not a very special. But if it's a special thing, especially a beach thing.
Yeah, if it's something from the ocean.
Yeah. Not just dead fish? Nah. But jellyfish, weird crab, one of those fucking dinosaur crabs, the horseshoe crabs. Yeah, you're poking that.
Starfish?
Yeah, especially anything gelatinous. Starfish, maybe. You could pick those up.
Yeah.
But anything gelatinous, always poke with a stick, preferably in the eye if you can. Dead human in the eye.
Yeah.
If it's a crime scene, maybe not. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. But as far as creature feature, I really enjoyed that weird jellyfish and stuff. Paulie Cooley, as we've listened from, he's the host of one of the hosts of the Dead Robot Society. He writes a lot of harder sci-fi, even in the horror stuff. Mm-hmm. So like tech thrillers and things that deal with the technical side of stuff. In this one, like the Black was dealing with like oil rigs, and he actually went into a lot of details and made it interesting for a guy like me who doesn't give a shit about oil rigs. I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. In this one, with the jellyfish, he went in a lot about the boat stuff, which, I mean, I've read a lot of probably way more boat fiction than you.
Yeah.
Like Moby Dick and just different boat fiction. I actually like sea stories, but I'm still not overly familiar with boat terms. Like, you get the poop deck and starboard and that shit. But, as far as like just a lot of the nautical nonsense, I generally don't really care about. I thought it was interesting because he didn't, since it was short, he didn't like fucking flood you with it.
Yeah.
He almost wrote it like you should just kind of know it, but probably wrote it since you have two characters who aren't so familiar with this stuff, so geared towards them. So like the Martin and Wilma aren't experienced boaters, so they know a little bit about it, but like if we went on a boat.
Yeah.
So it's like, the story was almost written to be geared towards the person who's like that. So it's like you might know some terms, and if you don't, it doesn't really matter. You can look them up, but he made it interesting without making it like so technical. You're just like, I don't give a fuck how you're tying knots and stuff, I don't care about the different types of sailor knots. He doesn't do that stuff.
I was a little surprised that there was no P-talk involved with like the stings.
Peeing on stuff?
Yeah. That's like, it was not even brought up as like a joke. Like, oh, hey, man, I could pee on your arm if you want. Like,
well, maybe that's because Paulie Cooley knows that it doesn't work. And they're experienced boaters. They're not going to do it. You would think the joke would come up, at least from Martin.
Yeah.
Maybe Wilma.
Martin wanted Wilma to pee on him.
Yeah. Man, I think it's because by the time one of them gets stung, they're so freaked out because they just come off of that fucking all the dead guys on the boat.
Yeah,
probably not the time to joke about peeing on stuff. Maybe if it happened earlier in the fucking story. Pacing-wise, I thought the pacing was good.
Yes, the pacing was really good.
As a Paulie Cooley story seems to go, from what I've read of his, it always ramps up near the second half to the end. The first half was moderate. It was a moderate pace. He settles you into the environment, which is nice.
And the characters.
Yeah, so you don't just get thrown into Jump Street and just have to figure everything out. Like, you get a little bit of a build-up. You get backstory. You get some character development. And then everything ramps up to the point. Like, he makes you care about him just enough that when he kills him, it hits. But not like a full novel would really, they have kids. And like it doesn't go into all their feelings and stuff too much because it's still like an action thriller type of deal. There were a few critiques we've had. Mine main being is very pedantic. We mentioned when we covered the Black some years ago how a lot of the characters in that book for some reason clenched and unclenched their fist.
Yes.
I think that only showed up once in here maybe. I'd like to think he heard that episode and said, no, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, but I'm going to replace it all with sighs.
I think 5 or 6 times a page someone was sighing at times. There was a lot of sighing, and if it, you mentioned off air, if it was one character that did it, that'd be a character trait. So if Stu sighed a lot, okay, that's just his character trait. But all of them did it. Too much.
Yeah.
A lot of them were sighing.
And a lot of what I wouldn't really consider would be like sighing moments.
Yeah. if somebody's screaming something with an exclamation point and then they sighed,
Yeah.
I don't know. That actually was done enough that it bugged me, and I would almost take a star off if I had to go through that for like another 100 pages, like if it was longer and there was more of that. So I did not like all the sighing.
And also just like, and because it was all just like he sighed or so and so sighed. It wasn't any like, because we talked about this like off air before, like there's different ways you could do that or say that with it being, you know, trying to convey the same thing.
It almost comes off a little lazy with that. It's just like, oh, you just use it because it's the easiest way to do it. And I get you're trying to keep a pace and you're not bogged down the story by showing all these actions and stuff, but that's too much sighing. Characters shouldn't be signed that much. They could do other things.
It just seems like, with that kind of stuff, it could probably just use another like pastor, probably.
Yeah, like if you're just writing in Word or something, do it just a Control F, look up sigh, and see how many fucking times it's used.
If it's like 50 times and that's short of a story.
Yeah, and I know our next book we're covering, it's also a problem, so I'm going to mention that again, and I'll have more creative ways to deal with that. But on this one, I'll just say it bugged me. Let's see if I could just open a random page and see if there's a sigh in here. I would go to the most action-packed fucking page.
Well, you are towards the end. Yeah, go to the front. Cover's cool looking.
I do enjoy the
book.
Cover.
Looks nice. It's a smaller size, so it doesn't take up like a whole. You know,
this is put out by Raventail Publishing too. I forgot to look them up because I usually look up the publisher just to see like what kind of books they're coming out with. Because he was publishing through, what was the publisher? I forget the name.
It was like Shadow
Press. Just Shadow Press, I think.
Something like that. But then like that is that who he had trouble with the black, and then he's having like the illegal, because like he's still waiting to get the rights back. I think for the last 2 books of that series. I think.
Yeah, which seems like they should have got that back already.
Because I'm waiting for him to get it back, because I'm hoping that like, because I've wanted to read the rest of the Black series, but like with knowing like the last 2 have been in like legal issues, like I'm waiting for him to get it back so it could be like, hopefully he gets it back and just does like a big release of like all of them, like a re-release or something, and then I could just get the whole series at once.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fucking cool if you could do that. Get like an omnibus or something, or
I mean,
even a collection.
I mean, even if
collection.
Yeah, even if they're still the separate books, but if they're in like a collection together, it would still be kind of cool. I think.
Yeah.
Can't find. I was trying to buff it so you could find something. Not.
Yeah. No.
They had all the size disappeared.
There was no size in here. It was my fucking brutal imagination. A lot of grinning.
Yeah.
A lot of chuckling. It's because I'm not reading really. I'm just scanning. Should have got a digital version of this. It'd be easier.
Oh, because you could have just looked it up.
Oh man, the word grin is used a lot. Like I come across it 5 times in the 2 pages here. It was like Stu was sighing a lot like a fucking schoolgirl though. I had to take a break because I was looking for these sighs, and I realized that a lot of the sighs weren't in dialogue. I was looking in the dialogue. So for instance, Stu sighed and sipped from the mug. He does that a lot. There's multiple instances where he's sighing and sipping from a mug of spiked coffee.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't there in a poem where like it was really like shit was really going down with the storm, and he's still just sipping on his mug?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just implied here, but I think he's an alcoholic.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
no, because they do talk about times where like not drinking because like, hey, we got people, you know.
Well, that's the thing. There was a few times where Jenna's like, hey, you don't drink until we're through this.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. Like you have to tell the guy not to drink while the storm's coming in. Like, okay. But yeah, when I was also looking for this, I noticed a lot of grinning.
Yeah.
A lot of people grinning, and I just wonder if Paulie Cooley's writing style, if he just doesn't check for reused words a lot. He just writes it out how he wants it. But you think like an editor or something would like, hey, you're using that too much, you know? Change it up or just use some alternate words or something. I mean, as a writer, that's just like a nitpick because in my writing, I make sure I really focus on not reusing words too many times.
Yeah.
Bugs me.
Especially like you said on something like a small fiction like that, you know, it's like
you're gonna notice it more when it's short like that. So, what did you think of the characters, like just their personalities and stuff? Because he does seem to write a very grizzled type of character in a lot of his works.
I mean, all the characters, they were fine. Like I didn't have an issue with them, but I had no problem with any of them dying.
No.
I
think that's because he has a tendency to write his characters as like the tropey characters you'd see in movies or something. So, you have the alcoholic stalwart, you have, kind of grizzled curmudgeon, you have the sassy, too smart for her own good, badass chick, You have the ditzy chick. You have the fucking buffoon guy. Like he always has like these characters that kind of follow a tried and true arc.
And like we said before, like he has become known to like killing off a lot of characters. So knowing that there was only 4 to begin with,
yeah.
I'm knowing like nobody's making it. Like I said, like I thought like nobody was gonna make it out.
No, I mean, honestly, I was hoping nobody would get out. When I read something like this, though, I want more brutal deaths. Maybe that's a character trope, too, because, like, in my creature feature, Dead Men Don't Scream, I ended with 1 survivor. And usually, at least I would go into it doing, like, with my stories, is it's kind of maybe the one you don't expect.
Yeah.
Or the one that's, I mean, with only 4 people, I guess you can't really... Like, who do you have survive? You don't want Wilma to survive. She sucks.
No.
Like, she's just basic. You don't want Martin to survive because he's just the buffoon character, kind of. You steer it towards Jenna being the one that's supposed to survive, but Stu is the one that would realistically survive. I don't know. Do you feel that Paulie Cooley writes women characters in a certain way? Because I've noticed in those works, there, at least from what I've read, it seems like a man's version of a woman.
Oh, I like
the Jenna character comes across as like what I would imagine like maybe a guy in his 50s, like a Gen Xer, how he would view women and writes them that way.
See, I was thinking more like it's like him trying to do his version of like the Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like the...
Well, it's like, I want the badass chick.
Yeah.
But again, it comes off almost like a like when I read the Jenna character, I don't feel that's necessarily like a genuine character. Like I don't see that as like, oh, that's how a woman would act in that situation.
Though I did feel like with her was more the one who just like, why is nobody listening to her?
Yeah.
You know, like let's get on the fucking Coast Guard, let's get everybody on there and get the fuck out. Like,
well, that's why I didn't have a problem with anybody dying because like Stu wouldn't listen to her about getting the fucking Coast Guard in there and just doing the smart thing. But then also like you found this boat and once you get on the boat and see the guy's dead, get off the fucking boat.
Yeah.
Like she's investigating and she's doing all this shit. Like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
So like that was another instance where I was just like, I get it for the story purposes. Yes. The plot point. Yes, you do that. But I don't feel like any real woman of the sea is going to be doing that.
Right.
I don't feel like anybody's doing that. Like if I go on a boat and everyone's dead, but in horrific ways.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to get the fuck off of here. Ew. So I don't know. That's just looking too deep into it. But for just a fun story, fast paced, I enjoyed it. I recommend everybody check it out because I read it in like a day or 2.
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
No.
Especially once you start getting into all of the action and stuff like that, it doesn't take that long.
Yeah, I wonder if he wrote this as like a short story that just went long.
Maybe.
Turned into a novella. I don't know if he actually went into it as like, oh, I want to make this a whole book. I think you could have, if it was longer, he could have incorporated more, like how the Black did, incorporate more elements. More, I think more characters was what would have helped it.
Yeah, because if it was like longer, you could even do like flashbacks, like or flashes to like the Coast Guard on their way.
Yeah,
and like you know what I mean, and having like communications with them maybe, or you know what I mean, like some not filler, but you know. Make it bigger.
I think the biggest problem is you're supposed to get the claustrophobic feel of just 4 people on a boat that can't go anywhere, but that's not that exciting.
Well, and again, we also talk about like we're actually not exactly sure how big this boat is.
Yeah, I'm assuming a medium-sized like fishing boat. Like,
well, they had like a thing where you go underneath to sleep though.
Yeah, but like most of the boats like that. I'm thinking like a Hemingway's Polar boat. Like it's got a deck, it's got a up top, and it's got a below. But it's, it's not huge. But yeah, it's hard to say. I couldn't get a good feel of the size of the boat. But even so, it's like 4 people trapped on the boat and there's monsters. It's like, okay, that's a cool enough story. But the problem is like, you can't go anywhere. So you kind of know they're going to all die.
And he has a thing with the sea, water, it seems like.
Yeah, he's seems fascinated by the deep ocean, which is always again. I love the deep ocean stuff, so
because that's where the Black came from.
Yeah, so that's a genre I enjoy. So I would check out more works set in like a universe like this with these fucking jellyfish monsters. Still wish I knew why it was called the Medusa Zone. Never explains. Never says Medusa in the book.
No,
as far as I remember.
But it sounds awesome.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Any other notes on the book you have?
No, just other than like I said, like you were saying, I enjoyed it. I've read a little bit more of his work than you have. Like I downloaded a couple like of his like short stories and stuff like on my Kindle and stuff, and those are okay. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, solid read. Good book of the month.
Yeah,
I'm glad we did a book a month we actually liked.
Yeah, it's definitely for this time of year and stuff like that, and you were just looking for a quick, weekend read or something. I would definitely say it's worth it.
Again, I mean, if you like creature features, but you're tired of giants or fucking werewolves or the tried and true ones, you get Jellyfish. It's
and
different.
I think it's a good introduction into Mr. Pauly's Cooley writing.
Yeah.
So if you do want to get one of his bigger
books.
or series or something that's I think would be a good to see if you like what he does.
Again, because he does a lot of technical stuff in his books too. It would give you a small feel for that because it's not overdone in this. But the black is more technical. It has the oil rigs and tells you how they work and shit.
I would be interested to see if somebody who's more familiar with boating, and that kind of sailing, with how they would think about it.
Yeah,
because they might appreciate the technical stuff that is in there a little bit more than
we did. Yeah, lost on us. So anyway, check that out, folks. If you want to check out what we do, I am at calebjameskade.com. I got new publishing stuff out. When this episode drops, I should be in the whatever new page gallery thing.
Got a poem, right?
I should have a book out too. Yeah, I got a poem in that. I should have that Ethereal Nightmares Omnibus collection or whatever with my new story in it, an interview and stuff. That should be out, I think. And then I would assume your Hellbound Books Campfire Stories collection should be out too.
Anthology of Campfire Stories should hopefully be out here soon too.
They said mid-October, but they just released their Extreme Horror one, which they did say that was coming out on the 1st, I think. So seems to be right on target. Anyway, at DPW Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Spencer's OnlyFans. He is, where did I see you were?
Jacksonville.
No, just Jackson, Mississippi.
Jackson, Mississippi.
You were in Jackson where there's no jellyfish, and you were in Jackson juggling those jellyfish that don't exist.
Yes.
Maybe that's where these creepy jellyfish came from. So anyway, we'll thank you for listening next week. Not this thing. No. We don't thank you for listening to this at all. You know why?
Why?
Because we're jerks.
Yeah.
Because we're canceled. But we'll check you out next week with, I don't know, maybe the Boatmore Butcher.
Yeah.
If you ever finish it. God damn it. I finished it. I liked it. But we'll check you out with some kind of episode next week. Until then, have a great day.